Chapter 2. In fact, Bea did want to play soccer on election day. Her town's own ballot had a millage proposal to update the public park, and funding for a soccer field was included. Bea was hoping that soccer would be added as a varsity sport if the field was approved. Her mom and I had always said, try anything once. Give it a fair shot before you decide how you feel about it. With that advice, she had tried soccer when she was 4, and she loved it. It wasn't a common sport in the Northwoods, but her community was receptive to her family's proposal for a new public space. The anti-taxers, of course, would vote no on anything that didn't personally benefit them. I'm pretty sure, though, that they'd be first in line for Medicare for all who want it, just like they were first in line for the Feeding America truck. The rest of the community, though, attended the sports games for all students in all grades. They supported the community center, and they gave to the church's youth group fundraiser. Bea felt confident that they would vote to support the kids one more time. She walked with her best friend Joy until they got to Joy's bus. Football tomorrow or else, Biggs said as he shouldered past the girls. It must be so pleasant to ride the bus with the Reds, Bea teased. Girl, it sucks. At least they get off quick, Joy chuckled. Let me know what they say on the bus. Call me later. Love you. At the crossing guard, Bea caught up to Nicole. Nicole was something of a role model for Bea. She was a cheerleader through and through. The American Patriots always had the best cheerleaders. Some years the cheerleading team was bigger than the football team. So when Kellyanne decided that cheerleading was no longer cool and tons of girls left the team, Nicole cheered by herself. It was only for one game, and some of the girls came back, but her strength and willingness was inspirational. Nicole knew who she was and what she stood for. She didn't go with the crowd. Hey Nicole, how's your soccer field? Bea asked, matching her neighbor's stride. Recent polling suggests it's likely to pass. Most of the people I talk to are supportive. Only 1 or 2 greedy old cranks out there, Nicole reported. Their walk included 2 blocks along the highway. They waved to their friends who were yelling from the backseat of their parents' cars. Great to hear. How's your Reagan project coming? I'm on track. His tax cut really did become permanent, even when we had Democrats in office to reverse it. What are you researching? They turned at Maple Street, where Mr. Carlson was taking down his fuck your feelings flag. How stock buybacks had been illegal before Reagan, and how they became legal during his presidency. She's a nerd. She gets it from her dad. Whoa, that's cool. I bet it really changed the U.S. economy, Nicole said. The next yard had a UTV for sale. The owner, Swanson, could no longer afford to drive it on the weekends. His favorite president had mismanaged the economy and driven up the cost of gas until side-by-sides were no longer enjoyable. So far, yeah, I'm actually enjoying the research. Do your own research and all that, Bea said. I had told her about the times of COVID when armchair scientists suggested that we take horse medicine. And the government said, let's ignore the coronavirus research lab where the outbreak happened. Reputable sources. Fact versus opinion. Don't believe your eyes. It was their final commandment. Hashtag Orwell, Animal Farm. Some are more equal than others. Hashtag Johnny. The girls were getting a little too boy crazy for my tastes. Bea's mom crushes on rock stars, and I guess it's rubbing off. Did you hear that Oliver's is called the other TV character we elected? I've got to hand it to Oliver. He's brilliant. Not much for the Northwoods, though. He freaks out every time it snows, from what I've heard. No, that's freaking awesome. OMG, done talking about history. And now you're home and our time is wasted, LOL. And thank goodness for that, dear reader. Once they start speaking in acronyms, it's all silliness and nonsense. Bea unlocked the door and threw her backpack on the bench. She took off her shoes and greeted Opie and Lou before washing her hands. It would only be a few minutes till I got home, so she stayed offline. Her community was safe, and her sheriff was a good man. I had constantly reiterated that robbers are only on Paw Patrol and in business suits. Between video doorbells and video phones and video watches, no one was really desperate to commit a crime. Our Northwoods home contains rifles and shotguns, but the two big noisy dogs are the best protection from physical threats. I'm responsible for keeping her safe online when she's home. The stay offline till an adult is home rule is a no-brainer. Bee's mom came home from work and opened the mail. No bills, thank God. We've been fighting over money struggles since Christmas. President Trump said she doesn't get $30 this year. She only gets $3. And what did you do? I demanded. You think that this is because we bought Christmas presents for our daughter? She roared. Uh-oh. The affordability crisis is a myth, I tried. The war will pay for itself? I was about to be read the riot act when Bee walked through the door. We tried to never fight in front of her. It was getting more difficult every day. Hi, sweetie, nothing to see here, just mom and dad discussing the bills. How was school? It was a very quiet dinner. After dinner, I started a load of laundry and took care of the ducks and dogs. I brainstormed ways to increase revenue and settled on this book. After teaching for 20 years at the same school, earning my master's degree, and playing by all those rules that President Obama used to refer to, the American dream is basically out of reach. I graduated high school with a 4.0 GPA. I graduated from Grand Valley State University Honors College and tested into Mensa because I thought it would look good on a resume. It did. I beat a couple hundred other applicants for a job with Manitowoc Public Schools. I've been employed full-time ever since. I got my job before I got married. I got married before I bought a house. I bought a house and earned my master's degree from Northern Michigan University before we had our son. At that point, I decided that school was hard and dropped out. I divorced his mother amicably and met my person. We got married and had Bee, and I've tried to make her life, like her brother's, as carefree and innocent as possible. I'm not desperate for adulation, please. I tell my story as a model. If anyone's background could have lifted someone from poverty to the middle class via the American dream, it's mine. I'm a tall, straight, educated Christian white man. I'd like to think I'm closer to straight from central casting than the great unwashed on the Trumpian scale of attractiveness. I've enjoyed every privilege. I've had incredibly good luck with my schooling and health. I love every single aspect of my life except for the checkbook. And I know that the government of the United States can do better for its citizens. Did you know that most of us don't have $400 to tap in case of an emergency? That's a national disgrace and worthy of policy change. A president like FDR would improve everything for a guy like me. I know this because the OG already did. I used to take my son to the trampoline park. Appleton has a nicer one than Green Bay. We'd drive all morning, have a fast food lunch, play all afternoon, have dinner at the Italian chain, Italian tour for me, fettuccine Alfredo for him, stop and have custom ice cream for dessert. My son would get chocolate ice cream with gummy bears mixed in. Now I have to tell him no when he wants to order pizza. I used to have $50K in a Roth IRA. I thought I was going to retire rich. I've had to tap into my IRA twice since President Trump took office for his second and final term. I'm not lazy. My wife and I work hard. 2 full-time jobs, 3 college degrees. We're not extravagant. The entirety of our wildest fantasies, which include a new home, hunting camp, UTV, boat, and camper, cost roughly $600K in the Northwoods. Halfway through a 40-year teaching career, and I'm nowhere near my goals. 2/3 of the way through a 30-year career is even worse. The pundits, like they always have, tell me that it's all my fault, that I needed to bribe myself in order to get ahead. If I never drank pop, or bought lottery tickets, or went to the mall, or ordered coffees, then the middle class would suddenly reappear. They told my mom the same thing in the 90s. I know this because I grew up too fast. President Trump says that he can do nothing for Americans. President Roosevelt sure could. Bee and her mom enjoyed one last walk through the neighborhood that night. Bee talked about Big's threats, her boyfriend Hayes, and how Supreme was such an awful human. Her mom asked about her anxiety level and if any other stressors were in play. They talked about Bee's goals and set realistic boundaries for her final middle school year. I washed the dishes and had some luscious lychee while listening to A Closer Look and Colbert and Kimmel's monologues. It's a pretty quick and easy way to keep up with the news when you've got those three and The Daily Show. I finished taking the dogs outside as the ladies got home. I sprayed some cologne and hugged and kissed my wife. I apologized for being a jackass and told her that I trusted that everything would be okay in the end. She told me that I didn't smell of THC and that she knew that already. The whole family clambered onto the couch to watch wrestling. At least that's what was on the fourth screen. Bee's mom scrolled through narrated tales of family disasters. Bee snapped selfies to her aunts. I know this because I was in the background of every one. Bee's aunts replied with praise, reminding her that she's beautiful and smart and strong. She texted with Joy, Nicole, and Alexandria about the gym class vote. Joy reported that Big had pressured Raphael into a vote for football. Alexandria knew that Feder was going to vote for football simply because he felt like it. Bee said that Hayes was going to do the same thing. She knew that she was not allowed to bully Hayes into voting for soccer. A person's vote is independent and private. In the best case scenario, they vote for what makes the most sense in their situation after having watched or read about all of the candidates, or they take a guess, or they vote to punch down. I was not done keeping track of politicians and elected public servants. The Last Word, iHips Pod, and the Joy Reid Show all found their way into my ears. I've been following politics since I was 16. I find it fascinating and disgusting and disappointing, but I do not find it useless. My pastor warns me of the risk of becoming addicted to what he calls political porn. I understand that we've elected a bunch of TV characters these days, but I've also got to know who stands for something. Senator Paul has a philosophy that I disagree with, but his unwavering support for it is honorable and far too rare. He will not vote for legislation that directly counters his priority, no matter how much heat he gets from his own party. Did you already know that? If so, then you're enjoying this book on a whole other level. If not, then I taught you something, and this book is a success. Senator Sanders has not changed his message since he began his political career. He could have sold out 1 million times by now. The man has maintained his dignity for an entire political career. That's rare. Katie Porter seems to really understand people like me. Congressman Ro Khanna does too. Governor Walz is a whole lot like me. I'm a whole lot like him. Graham Plattner is speaking my language. We need to make serious progress in this country. He'd help do it. And I'm thoroughly impressed by Abdul El-Sayed's promise to never take money from special interests, a promise he made and kept in his unsuccessful bid for governor. We need elected officials. We get politicians.